Welcome into a brand new edition of the Sports Hub Patriots Podcast, a preseason preview edition, preseason game week 1 coming up on Thursday against the Texans. And that means it's Peepers Peeled season, what to watch for as the Patriots take the field for game action for the first time in 2023. I'm Alex Barth, joined by Matt Dolloff from 98.5 thesportshub.com. And since I'm in on the afternoon show tomorrow, it's me and Joe Murray. So Beadle and Zoe and Hardy don't get to do their usual Peepers Peeled thing. So I guess we'll tell you, since they're not going to be there, we're keeping our Peepers Peeled.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll steal the bit. We're
going to steal the bit here. So I know, Matt, you have a piece coming up tomorrow on kind of the full outlook, but
I'm still putting my notes together here.
All right. So maybe some of this podcast features in the piece. It's complimentary. But just like right off the bat, what's the biggest thing you'll be watching for in this preseason opener?
I mean, not shocking, but the two rookie receivers. I assume they're both going to play. Demario Douglas and Keion White. I know Douglas has had a strong spring, and I don't know what it's been like the last couple days, Alex. Maybe you could fill me in on that as far as the hierarchy at the receiver spot. I haven't been able to be down there the last couple days, but from what I've seen, Douglas has passed Tyquan Thornton as that number 4 receiver. I think it's clearly, Parker, Bourne, Smith-Schuster, the top 3, the veterans, whatever order you want to put those guys in. But it seems like a real competition brewing at that number 4 spot, at least for snaps, playing time, things like that. I have a feeling like that all these guys are either going to make the roster or be stashed in some way. You tell me. I don't know how likely it would be that they would carry 6 receivers on the roster and then that they would all play. So, I mean, there's at least a competition brewing for snaps and playing time and workloads and things like that because, Thornton has also slipped in this camp. He's at a quiet camp. But, I want to see if those rookie receivers can make a big push.
I think carrying 6 receivers would be tough, but it's also this team isn't in a point where they can part ways with wide receiver potential. And if Keion White is showing you the potential to be the guy he was as a freshman at LSU, and even if, I think Demario Douglas has done enough at this point to establish himself as he's at least somewhat of an NFL receiver. To what extent, we don't know. They can't afford to part ways with guys like that, especially given their history at the position. So I agree with your assessment. I think Demario Douglas has, just slightly passed Tyquan Thornton. That's still a full-on battle. They're both repping. With the ones. They're both getting a similar number of reps. They're giving them similar looks, and it kind of seems like a head-to-head who's going to be the best in this situation. And then you kind of have a second battle happening off of that where, all right, if Douglas is going to beat out Thornton for that 4th wide receiver spot, Thornton's not getting cut. I know some people are like, all right, well, if he's a bust, move on. One, he was the 50th overall pick a year ago. You just don't move on from those guys that quick. And his speed is significant enough that if he'll still add something. I don't think he'll end up being that number 1. Some people want him to be, but can he be Damiere Byrd? Yeah. And they don't have a lot of speed on the offense. They need speed. So if Douglas bumps Thornton down to 5, then it becomes, can Keion White do enough that they can't cut him and basically force them to carry 6 wide receivers? And maybe a Foxborough flu happens somewhere in there. We'll see. But I think that's what's kind of shaking out there. And for me, honestly, that's the second biggest battle to watch in all of this.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I still think it just the nature of it, you can learn a good amount about the receivers in training camp practices. We really still don't know what their plan is at right tackle. We have no clue. I know it's kind of looked like Connor McDermott has passed Riley Reiff, but even those padded contact practices aren't full game contact. We need to get a full view of where those two guys are at to get an idea of exactly how much of an adventure, for lack of a better word, this right tackle position is going to be. And within that, are we going to see Riley Reiff at right tackle at all? Because I would guess Trent Brown's not going to play. It sounds like a number of the offensive starters won't play, and Trent Brown's already been limited. And in practice, it's been Riley Reiff on the left side to fill in for that. Are they going to put him on the left side with the first team and the right side on the second team? Will they throw Andrew Stuber out there so that McDermott and Reiff can both rep on the right side? I don't know. But I really hope we get to see Riley Reiff on the right side, and I hope we get a good look at both him and Connor McDermott.
Yeah, well, first I'll I'll finish the thought on the tackles, but I want to circle back to the receivers. I had another thought on that. But yeah, look, the tackle position it could be that specific position that derails the whole thing. And look, I know that sounds hyperbolic, especially at this point of the offseason, but right now we're looking at a team that I think if they can block it right, they do it right up front. And Mac Jones is everything's going right for him. If it's clicking with him and the receiver, I think they have enough to have a good offense. And like it might just come to the point where they can't really hang against the elite level competition, which I know has been a thing the last few years. But I think they have enough here that they're certainly better on paper than they were last year. Certainly, I think better on paper than they were 2 years ago in terms of all the pass catching positions. And then you hope that Mac Jones not only rebounds from last year, gets back to where he was as a rookie, but maybe takes a step forward, plays even a little better than that. I think they might have enough. The problem is they might not have enough up front. And so, yeah, the injuries have been getting to them. And I know that a lot of the injuries have been on the interior, so I'm not as worried about the interior. But yeah, you got to get a good look at Reif and McDermott. And I mean, the rookie City Sow has actually been playing a lot of right tackle, which I know we've talked about, but I want to emphasize that because they did draft him. He was mentioned as a guard. He played guard in college. He was a guard at the draft, right. But they played him at right tackle. So yeah, I want to see how he looks too. And yeah, I mean, that's an interesting competition brewing, but it's not exactly one out of they have so many guys that they don't know who to keep and who to cut and all that. I think it's a little different than at the receivers, but at tackle, yeah, you just got to find the right combination. And I mean, I'm not sure that they've really gone to that point yet. It's a little concerning that Reif got beaten out by McDermott relatively early in camp, as far as, he was there the first 3 days or so at right tackle. And then McDermott's sort of taken over there. They still see Reif as the backup left tackle, but it's a little disappointing for the guy who was technically your big free agent signing at tackle. So yeah, I got to see how that shakes out. But yeah, just to circle back to the receivers, It's way too early to go bust territory with Tyquan Thornton. It's way too early for that. And look, this is basically a reset year for him. You could say I know you could say it's another rookie year for him, but then how do you explain Douglas and Booty, how they're playing? They can sort of hit the ground running. They don't really know any better. It's that sort of thing with the rookies. Thornton had to go through last year just like a lot of other guys did. And this is sort of a reset for him. And I'm sure there's been a bit of a learning curve for him. And there are definitely things he needs to work on, things he has to be better at. But I'm not going bust just yet. I'm going, he's probably not going to be a number one receiver. He's probably not going to be a star. He's not going to be one of those guys. He might just be a complimentary guy, which is a little disappointing for a second-round pick who was drafted right before George Pickens, who looks like a really good NFL receiver. And then we'll see how the other draft picks turn out there. And that's obviously going to be a conversation. But I still think Tyquan Thornton's an NFL receiver. He's going to be on NFL teams and play in NFL games. I don't know how good he's really going to be. I don't know if he's going to be more than just a complimentary guy, but I think it's way too early to go bust on him.
Well, look, N'Keal Harry's lighting up Minnesota Vikings training camp right now, so anything's possible. But I think I'm a little less optimistic than you on this one. And I mean, bust, obviously, that word carries meaning with it. But
look, bust means he can't play. He's never going to play. You think there's a good chance he's just never going to make it at all?
I don't know about that, but he's a disappointing draft pick because, like you said, he's not showing any signs that he's going to develop into a number one receiver, even a high level number two. And for where they picked him, that should have been that's what he should be. And if you want to say he was overdrafted and that's not his fault, fine. But from the draft pick point of view, that would be a miss. That would be a miss. And you talk about the issues adjusting from last year's offense to this year. I think there's some validity there, but it's also everybody knew he needed to put on size this offseason. He didn't do it. He doesn't look any stronger at the catch point. His hands don't look any better. I haven't seen any semblance of growth, and that's what's outside of being able to pick up the offense, pick up the concepts. That's what's concerning. I will say this. This is my hot take on that pick, though. I don't fault them for not taking George Pickens. I don't. For a team with the history they have drafting wide receivers, to take a guy coming off of 2 significant knee injuries with off the field issues, it wouldn't have been a good pick. And you can only go off what you know at the time. It would not have been a good pick. That doesn't mean Thornton was there, but I think there's better ways to second guess that, such as, do you take Christian Watson at the end of the first round and find a guard later? Instead of trading up from 52 to 50, do you trade up a little higher and get John Mechie? And I know we later found out John Mechie had cancer, but again, you can only go with the information you have at the time. Instead of Pickens, the guy that was picked after, I look at is Sky Moore, who's a much better system fit for what the Patriots do. That's where I would second guess it. I don't have a problem with them passing on Pickens. I said at the time that they shouldn't take him. even if there's a chance he becomes a good receiver, I didn't think they'd be able to maximize him. And the Steelers do this. They churn out wide receivers. Tyquan Thornton would probably look a lot better in Pittsburgh right now, and I don't think George Pickens would look as good in New England. That's just the way it's been for the last 20 years. So I'm down on Thornton. I am. I think that Demario Douglas could really save them, because if Tyquan Thornton can't be a regular player, like a 65-70% usage rate player, they weren't going to have enough speed on offense. Now Douglas enters the picture, maybe they can. But yeah, I'm not on my list of gripes with that pick. Not taking George Pickens is actually kind of further down the list.
Yeah, look, I'm down on Tyquan Thornton. I'm not saying I'm up on him. I'm not saying it was a good draft pick. I'm not even saying he's good. I'm just saying, I guess maybe we're arguing two different things. You're talking about Tyquan Thornton specifically. I'm talking about the discussion surrounding him. He's not a bust just yet. It's too early to go there. I think it's too early to say they missed on the pick. It's trending. Oh, it's obviously trending in the wrong direction. But, like, why can't he turn that around? Why are we taking 2 weeks of training camp and writing off his career? I mean, I guess I'm an optimist, and that's why I'm not cut out for. Maybe I'm not cut out for 98.5 The Sports. I'm not saying he's a bust. Well, look, this is 2 weeks into his second year.
I gave this take to Felger yesterday, and he was floored. He was like, "Coming from you." Like he couldn't believe that.
It was unbelievable. Felger has like a distortion field around him. You sit within 6 feet of him, you become the biggest a-hole in the world when you get on the radio. But no, look, I think it's too early to write him off. I think you might have to write him off for this year. It's not looking good for this year. He's got a long way to go. He's been disappointing. The catch point thing, like you mentioned, is a big thing. Like he's getting out-muscled, beat out broken up for catches by guys at like number 39. I forget who that even is, to be honest. Rodney Randall. He's getting beat up by Rodney Randall. He's getting passes broken up by smaller cornerbacks, and it seems like he needs to fight more for the ball, and that's obviously a big thing. I just think, I don't know. I'm arguing about people calling him a bust and writing him off this early. I just, I don't like the way it's going. This is the guy I was saying. This is the guy that needs to emerge this year, and he's going in the opposite direction. So, just want to make that clear. I just don't think he's a bust just yet. I'm not going there yet.
All right, let's move on from the wide receiver position. So we talked about Demario Douglas, and we talked a little bit about that right tackle position too. You mentioned City Sue. What other rookies, and this is a big game for all the rookies. It's the first time we're going to see them in NFL action, but which rookies specifically are, one or two that you're looking the most forward to seeing?
All right, I apologize. Another obvious pick here, but Christian Gonzalez, the first-round cornerback, is certainly someone to watch. I don't know who's going to play as far as receivers on the Texans on the other end, or like what his competition is going to be like, but it's going to be good to see how he looks with game speed and, in a game situation.
So just on Gonzalez, I think it's funny you said the obvious one. I almost feel like he's gotten dropped from the rookie conversation because he's come in and just looked the part right away. And I think we expected that, when I'm going through my list of who are the rookies, I'm putting down Marte Mapu, I'm putting down Isaiah Bolden, I'm putting down, obviously Demario Douglas. Like, I almost feel like Christian Gonzalez isn't your typical rookie. I'd be surprised if he doesn't look ready. Whereas these other guys, I think it is more of a test. Especially the tough one for me is Mapu, because I would love to see him play. I think this is a very good opponent to get an idea of his skill set. You have CJ Stroud, who moves around a lot in the pocket. You have a really good tight end in Dalton Schultz. I'd love to see him in some coverage reps on. He's been wearing that red non-contact jersey. So is he going to play? I don't know. There's been times in the past where guys have worn that red non-contact and still played in the preseason games. So it's tough to say with that one, but he's a guy I'd really like to see. I'm surprised you didn't mention Keion White. That's your guy.
Well, I mean, I'm only one player. I mentioned one player. Can I mention another one?
Yes.
Just quickly on Mapu. It would be nice to see him play because, here's my thing on Mapu. Yes, they're lining him up in all these different spots, but I just wonder, like, they're just trying to find what works for him, find what he can do best. So I want to see how they actually use him when it gets into a game situation. So that'll be interesting compared to all these different places they're lining up. Like, I don't foresee him lining up everywhere on the field on Thursday night in a preseason game, but it would be nice to see him get out there. But yeah, he's not going to be on my list of players to watch because I'm not sure if he's going to play. He's been in the non-contact jersey all camp. So yeah, but Keion White, that's a guy where, like, I'm wondering to see how they use him. It looks like he's going to be on the interior. A guy like him. I know we talked about it, and I've talked about them needing to get a guy like that for years, but like the way defenses go these days, and even Patriots, a guy like that is generally going to play on the interior, or he'll be a 3-4 defensive end, but he won't be on the edge, so to speak. But I want to see how he lines up. I want to see how they use him because that might be an inkling that might give a little glimpse into how he's going to rotate in as a rookie, because it looks like at this point he'll rotate in occasionally. I don't know how much he's actually going to play out of the chute. Maybe we see more of him in the second half of his rookie year. We've seen that sometimes with the Jamie Collins and guys like that have emerged in the second half of their rookie years. But yeah, I'm interested to see how he lines up, like how they use him in this first preseason game. I assume he's going to be out there a lot, so I'm intrigued to see just how they use him and how he performs, and who's he lining up against? He's lining up tackles, guards. I want to see how he lines up as far as gaps and where he is on the line and things like that. That'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think that's another guy I kind of talked about with the tackles. You don't get a real look at those trench players until the game, and the reality is for everybody on the defensive line, I don't know how many of these guys are going to play. Like Dietrich Wise already told us, right, that he's not going to play in this game. Right. But it's been so hard to judge the defensive line in this camp just because who are they going against? It's been third, fourth string offensive linemen. So to see them against some actual NFL caliber players, I think is going to be helpful, very informative. And Keion White, a rookie especially.
Yeah, for sure. And just to quickly switch back to the offense, look, if Keion Boutte and Demario Douglas make backups look bad, that's a good sign to me. So I know we can come out of it saying, yeah, they were going up against backups, they were going up against third stringers. You don't want to hype up anything after a preseason game too much, good or bad, because it's not like they're really game planning or anything. They're just basic install stuff still. But if Keion White pops a little bit in this game, I'll get a little excited, even if it's against their backups, because it's look, if he does really well against backups, then maybe he's more than just a backup rotational guy. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they perform.
There's one more position I want to touch on, and it actually does involve any rookies, which this is usually a game about rookies, but that's running back. Because we came into camp talking a lot about this position. Who's going to be the guy behind Ramondre Stevenson? We thought it might be Ty Montgomery. We haven't seen him since day 2 because of injury. And they used 2 picks last year on Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris. And could one of those guys emerge? I don't know that either of them. I don't think either of them has been bad in camp, but neither of them has been good either. They've just kind of been there, right? So you still have Ezekiel Elliott looming. You still have Leonard Fournette looming. I think part of the reason those guys haven't signed is they're waiting for Dalvin Cook to set the market, which makes sense. I think the other part of the reason the Patriots maybe aren't showing as much urgency is they want to get Harrison Strong as many reps as possible to get a full evaluation to see where those guys are at before they make a signing. Because if one of those guys pops, well, now you can maybe just sign like a USFL guy like CJ Marable, and Stronger Harris becomes your true number 2. Right now, neither of them looks like a number 2, and you're going to probably have to sign Fournette or Elliott. But if one of those guys emerges, you save yourself that. So tonight's a really good chance, I think, for one of them to kind of prove why maybe the team doesn't need a running back as much as we think they do.
Yeah, that's sort of the same thing as the linemen, where it's hard to tell how a runner really looks, especially in the ground game, until the real bullets are flying, until there's real blocking going on, and he has real holes to run through, real blockers and tacklers to avoid, and that's the sort of thing we got to watch for with the running backs as well. And look, neither Pierre Strong nor Kevin Harris have really blown ahead of either one, or emerged as that clear number 2 behind Ramondre Stevenson. But again, we'll have a better idea of that after this first preseason game. Pierre Strong is going to be on my list of guys to watch because he looks like the guy that has the best chance to emerge in the passing game, other than Stevenson. Stevenson still looks like the main guy as far as catching passes out of the backfield. But if Pierre Strong can emerge in that kind of role and take some of that workload off of Stevenson, maybe give the defense a different look, a change of pace back type of thing like that, that would be huge. So I want to see if he can catch a pass or two and then, maybe make a play in the open field. I want to see what Pierre Strong could do there, because Kevin Harris, he looks like mainly the number 2 guy on the ground, guy they might use in short yardage, goal line type stuff. So yeah, goal line I'll watch for, but Pierre Strong is really the guy I'm going to be watching for at the running back position, because he looks like he has a chance to make plays in the passing game. So that's going to be what I'm watching for with him.
All right, you excited to watch Malik Cunningham play quarterback?
I wasn't there for when he finally repped at quarterback last couple of days.
2 days, he's done it, quite a bit, kind of in a scout team format. But if Mac's not going to play, I could see it. I could see him getting some reps at quarterback in this game. It'd be I don't know that it has any long-term meaning, but it would be fun to watch.
I want to see the double reverse and then throw to Cunningham wide open down the sideline. Who would be who's throwing the ball on that play? That would be my question.
Oh, that's a good question.
Because they don't have Jacoby Myers anymore. Who's that guy now?
I mean, you'd think it would be Cunningham as a high.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Yeah.
He would probably be that guy. Kendrick Bourne's their best rated passer among the wide receivers in Madden. So call it Kendrick Bourne. Although I don't see how those two are on the field together at the same time. I don't even know if Bourne's going to play
tomorrow.
Tonight.
No.
All right. One more goofy one before we wrap it up here. Give me a take on the rookie numbers. The rookies are going to get their first numbers probably usually on Thursday, usually before the game. Obviously, they've been in like the 50s and 60s, right? As has been the tradition for the last 10-ish years. Give me a rookie number take.
All right, 99 is a big number to watch. That number, I believe, is open right now, right?
But
so I want to see Keion White. It seems like the logical choice for 99. I could see Mapu just keeping 52, right? Is there another 52 on the roster?
Nope, there's not another 52. He can do that.
A Dane Fletcher 52.
A Ted Johnson 52. Shout out to
Ted Johnson 52. There you go.
I would remind you of this, though. Under the new rules, this is new this year. Kickers can wear 1 through 49 in 90 through 99. And Bryce Behringer wore 99 at Michigan State.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Yeah, they'd have to do some kind of bet. Some kind of Keion White has to catch a punter, and then Behringer has to block against David Andrews or something like that. I don't know. They got to do some kind of challenge, and the winner gets 99. Keion White seems pretty laid back. He seems like he'll take whatever they give him, though.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like a guy that cares about number. He'll get like 70 something. And I remind everybody, sometimes guys change their numbers after the preseason. Christian Barmore was 70 his rookie preseason. I know everybody wants Gonzalez to wear 0. Maybe he gets it. Maybe he doesn't. The one I need Demario Douglas to wear 80. Like I need it. Like I need air to breathe. I need Troy Brown to full on pass the baton to Demario Douglas. Nobody's wearing it right now. It's open. I need Demario Douglas to wear number 80.
He is the chosen one. Yeah, no, he is the chosen one. He needs to go down through the cave and get through all the traps and then get to the treasure chest with the 80 jersey in it. And then it's like, you are the chosen one.
Yes.
And he puts it on and he becomes Superman.
And even though it's already taken, I'll say it anyway. Keep him and Keion Booty the hell away from number 17. Just Scotty Washington, that's yours, man. You keep that. You enjoy it.
That's true. Yeah. Right. What's open for receiver? 19? Is 19 open?
19's open, 80, 83. And they can technically wear numbers in the 20s, 30s, and 40s now. So I think like 30's open. I think like 37's open. Could be could be temporary. But
my brain can only handle so much of that. I need normal numbers here.
Yeah, I think you're going to get some weird numbers. I think you're going to get some weird numbers tomorrow. So we will see. We'll have that list up on 985thesportshub.com. And of course, we'll have coverage throughout the day after the game on 985thesportshub.com as well. So be sure to check that out. Matt's piece will be up. More complete look at who to watch for. Peepers peeled Thursday night, Patriots and Texans. So everybody enjoy the game. Thanks for tuning in. We'll have a recap podcast probably Friday after the game. So I'll be back for that. Until then, subscribe to wherever you get your podcast, page, audio feed, and the Sports Hub YouTube channel. I'm Alex Barth. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
See ya.